Hola, Chicago.
Hello, my name is Estrella Vargas, and you're watching CAN TV's special edition of the Latino Film Festival. It's that time of the year, so thank you, Maria and Pepe, for joining me.
Thank you for having us, Estrella.
Sol Vargas.
Yes, Vargas.
Estrella Sol Vargas.
So today we're going to cover just the overall purpose of the Chicago Latino Film Festival and the power it has in our community and the whole nation and the world as a whole. We're gonna show you a few trailers of a few films that you get to see, and then we're just gonna talk about various topics that have to do with the film festival. So just to start, tell us why this year's 35th annual film festival, Latino Film Festival, is important and why you all want people to attend.
Well, I think this year we have a really diverse lineup of films. This year we've received a great amount of films, so it made the selection process really difficult because a lot of the films were absolutely great. And this year, a lot of the films that we've programmed address issues that might be a little taboo in some communities, or issues that some Latinos don't really know about or aren't talked about too often. We have a great deal of films that deal with Afro-Latinidad, about indigenous struggles in Latin America, and I think that's really important to shine a light on these issues this year.
I mean, the first one was important, and so is the 35th. Getting to the 35th anniversary, I think it means a lot. It is a reflection of the commitment that we had to the mission in using the festival as a tool to really share our culture, change the stereotypes, and lift the community, and really create a sense of an international family of many races, many languages, and we celebrate the difference that exists among ourselves. It's not about being Mexican or Argentinian or Spanish. It's how can we together, as a community of many nations, many races, different language, comes up and really collectively make a statement that is sound. This is who we are, and film allow us to do that. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing that now for 35 years.
Yes. And are there any difficulties that come year by year, especially being the 35th, that prevents you all maybe from doing certain things?
I think it's easier to climb Mount Everest than do these extremely complex. Maria was touching on that, the artistic part, selecting out of so many great films a sample that reflects the overall talent from all of these many countries. Raising the funds is difficult, but we keep doing this because we know it is needed. We know that what we are doing is precious, that we know that we are shedding light into the darkness that creates discrimination and segregation and putting aside the community. That is why we do this, because it's enriching society and creating this panorama that people can look at us the way we are, not the way they think erroneously who we are. And so, I mean, it is difficult, and the beauty of that is that it is needed. And therefore, I guess we have a great opportunity to do something that is needed. And aside from that, it's fun, it's exciting. We know people are eager, waiting for the festival. What would be the point of doing something that nobody cares about?
Exactly.
And so we know that there are people waiting for. And so that kind of empowered us to, energize us to. And with that kind of energy, we just get down to work and we get the resources that are needed In a way, we have become extremely resourceful in light of not having resources.
Exactly.
Not having money is not a problem. We have turned that into an opportunity. How can we do it in spite of? And we had the living proof that we have a right to the 25th anniversary. We are the oldest, the most comprehensive, and naturally we wanted to be the best festival in the country. We work with other and collaborate with other festivals, and it's sad that cities like New York, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, they do not have what we have here. So we really have a piece of jewel that we had to treasure, and Chicago fortunately embraces it, and that's why we are here celebrating 25 years.
Well, thanks to you all too, because I think maybe there's a lack of, passion or need for it. I mean, there's a need for it everywhere, but it's like what you're saying, there has to be dedication and passion because there's a lot of adversities, but it's that keep pushing because the people want it.
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that really drives the entire staff at the International Latino Cultural Center is that, we are passionate about what we're doing, and we know that our work is of value. And despite the challenges that we encounter throughout the way and any struggles that we may have and lack of resources, the most fulfilling aspect of it is at the end when the festival starts and being able to see the happiness in people and the joy that these films bring them, and the way that we can provide these films that otherwise would be inaccessible to them for 2 weeks. And it also, the festival brings a little part of home for them, whatever their country might be, and it makes them feel good. And that makes us feel good because we're bringing this joy and happiness to the city of Chicago.
Yeah, and also I personally love the Latino Film Festival because, in Chicago, when I want to go to the movie theaters, I can't take my mom with me because all the movies are in English and my mom doesn't speak English. Mm-hmm. So then, when the film festival comes around, it's finally the opportunity to take my mom to the películas and to watch them and just enjoy that with her. So it's to accommodate to a different population in Chicago, a different community.
Absolutely. My mom is the same way. She hardly ever goes to the movies. Mm-hmm. The only time she comes is, when we have the film festival, and then she asks me to recommend which films. And, she invites her friends, and they go out on movie dates and watch all these movies. So, yeah, I think awesome. It's really great, and I'm proud of what we do.
Exactly. I'm so proud of you all. So I know you all were talking about how hard it is to select the films. Who selects them, and what was guidelines for people who maybe want to submit films in the future?
It's a very complex process. We have a film selection committee, and we have an open call. We also reach a lot to the contacts that we have established over the years, journalists, directors who have been here. We get a lot of unrequested work, and that we take a look, and then the film selection committee, and Maria is the one who coordinates that and also is in charge of selecting the short films. Out of the great quantity that we get, we focus on the quality. What can we really put in the festival? We have to also think and keep in mind what would people like to see and what we would like them to see. So we kind of match these two concepts, and the idea is let's go for something that really is rewarding for them and is rewarding for us as well. And that is when the quality start coming up, and we watch more than 200 feature films and some 300 plus short films, and that out of that start coming and titles start coming. And also we made sure that we wanted to have films of pretty much every one of our countries. We make an extra effort to make sure that we include a film from every one of our countries. Sometimes we can accomplish that, but in general, it's 20 countries represented in the film festival. Mm-hmm. And that is also sending a message and a statement, this is who we are. this is an international family, and that is what we want you to see and perceive us to be, as a package of many, many countries.
Do you get any submissions from like Latinos living in the U.S.?
That is, I mean, we had never ever put that aside. So, because Latinos are not the Latino from one country, it's the many countries. And when we talk about the U.S., pretty much all the nationalities are here.
Yeah.
And so it is, and also films made in Chicago. And so for us, the concept of pan-Latino is every Latino living anywhere in the world. And sometimes we get films made in Russia, or we have films from Australia, Denver, Canada. And if the theme is Latino, or the filmmaker is Latino.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So now let's talk about the poster. Tell us a little bit about the selection process of selecting the poster and why you selected this one.
I mean, we wanted to open the possibility for graphic designers, artists who want to try it and really design the face of each year festival. And we've been running this for more than 20 years. And it was locally, and people had to submit the design physically. But we wanted also to be up to date in regarding technology. It became a worldwide through the website. Our website, we promote that, and we get designs from many countries. Some people want it, and they express that, and we welcome and are grateful that it should be kept Latino. I think otherwise we should confront the Latino artists with with the human talent. So that way we don't limit. Also, we want to have this 360-degree feedback. See how the world look at us.
Yeah.
And so we get designs from
Iran, from Canada, Russia, China, Korea. We get them from all over the world, and it's really impressive because it also gives you a sense when you see these designs. It gives you a sense of the perceptions of Latinos in other countries and worldwide, and it's really interesting to see that.
It is so
2 years ago, there was a lady from London, came in second place. When a lady from Chicago, non-Latino, was the first place. This year, the second place designer from Chicago. And the winner is an artist, a Polish who lives in Italy. And he won a big contest in Bolivia. And he's phenomenal. When we saw his resume, what he had done, and then why he got involved with us, because it was appealing for him to challenge himself and do something that really sort of becomes a representation of the Latino soul. And I think he accomplished that. And that is the beauty of that. Some people think it's free, that could be. But she's just a woman who embodies the talent of cinema.
And one of the things that I think is makes us feel a sense of nostalgia about the poster is, especially for me, because I became involved as a volunteer for the 25th Chicago Latino Film Festival, and the poster that year was very similar to this. And looking at this one, it's like a modernized version of the poster from the 25th Chicago Latino Film Festival. And it just shows a lot how much we've progressed and how much we've changed in these 10 years. And it also implies that, we still have a long way to go, and we're going to keep improving year after year.
And the 25th was designed by two Venezuelans living in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
And this is from a Polish living in Rome. At the time, we did not do that electronically and worldwide. But we received the design FedEx. They sent the day before the deadline from Los Angeles. And now no need, because That is
Things have
electronic
changed.
assessment. And also the amount, it was rather big, and is a process. It's difficult to make the selection out of 1,157 submissions.
Yeah.
And
it's
out
like
of that we get, and I don't think they do for the money. And when I read the statement of the artist,
It's passion.
the money wasn't anything. It's not much, but it's $1,000. They are good for me. But I'm not a designer, nor I could compete. I think they do because it is appealing to them to challenge themselves and jump into a different sort of culture to come up with something that they think will fit the idea of sharing the Latino culture in a city like Chicago.
Exactly. And it's important to, pick one that's going to represent, how many films are there in the film festival? Like hundreds?
64 features and 40 shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 plus, and yeah, we wanted to avoid. See, the film festival is not a Mexican film festival, nor Argentina or Spanish. So it's not a one country. It's the sum of all of these countries. So it's quite a challenge. So we wanted to avoid the single, and there are. I mean, I had no problem. For sure, in Chicago, no, but in New York, there's the Colombian Film Festival, the Dominican Republic. There used to be one from Venezuela, and there's another Viva Mexico. So we are Viva all.
Yes, that's awesome. So I want to show trailers of a few films that you're gonna show in the film festival. But before we get to that, I want to touch on like an important topic because you did mention that now you're receiving more diverse films and like that deal with topics that are usually not talked about. I know Roma is a film that's from Mexico that's nominated for many Oscars, and Yalitza Aparicio is one of the leading roles on it. And we've seen that our community, well, my community, my Mexican community has, not, most of it hasn't taken it well, seeing like indigenous woman getting nominated for an Oscar and being a lead actress. So it just shines light on like the colorism present in Mexico specifically, but what do you have to say about the platform film has created in our society?
I hope that Roma serves as inspiration for a lot of filmmakers in Mexico to address these issues and address these taboo topics. And perhaps this will also inspire a lot of filmmakers to make films that address these issues in society, in Mexican society, and that are so prevalent. So I really like that Roma is getting this attention, and it's very well deserved. It's an incredible film, but I hope it also inspires others to address these kind of issues of domestic workers and abuse, and I think us having a platform such as the film festival, we'd also like to move forward in the future with our film programming to also be able to select films that address issues that affect the indigenous communities all over Latin America, that shine light on the plights and struggles of the Afro-Latino community, which tends to be an invisible community, especially in Mexico. The prevalent issue of racism within the Latino community and colorism, and even sexism as well. So I think, us having that platform, could maybe create change and cause a lot of people to address these issues that are otherwise never talked about or just kind of pushed under the rug because they're seen as taboo.
Exactly.
And there's a reflection of our commitment to change things. Not long ago, when Ecuador qualified for the World Cup, and what happened is that most of the great soccer players were blacks, and Ecuador had a big problem with that because they did not want to. They wanted Ecuador is the white population only, so the indigenous population, the blacks, did not count. And Colombia, same thing. There was a beautiful woman who won the sort of counted locally, and then she became the national queen of the Colombian beauty. Why? Because the jury was international, and they found this beautiful woman to be the best representation of Colombia. And the establishment, the status quo, I think it's all of them are white. As the beauty is white, and they have a problem, but they had to swallow that, and there are blacks everywhere. Same thing in Mexico, they wanted blacks to not exist. However, we had that living proof that they do.
Exactly.
And we have a film that is precisely showing that. This is called La Negrada. It's about blacks in Mexico. And so we ourselves had been doing that for so long, putting the indigenous behind and oppressing them, keeping them in the darkness, and it's impossible. And I think the beauty of having a film being nominated for the Oscar, it brings a child life into a phenomenon that we refuse to accept as a reality. And having an Indian woman be nominated, I think, is a statement that nobody can deny. And then hopefully that will serve the purpose of really us understand. And that's, for us, it's not a problem because we are here celebrating the diversity. And that includes all these populations, which Mexico is more than 30 million and Colombia is 15% of the population. And now we have another film dealing with blacks, Haitians living in Chile. Wow. And they were now blacks, and therefore they did not discriminate the blacks because they were not. But they were good at discriminating the native, the Chilean native, the Mapuches. Oh. And so everywhere is a phenomenon. In Argentina, they basically killed them, as happened in the U.S. And Canada is not the exception, so the natives are killing them. They are treated less than a human being, and so that has to change.
Yes,
they are humans, and they are part of us, and that is what we had to reclaim, and that is what this film is doing. And kudos to Cuarón that he was. Also, nobody else would have been able to make this film.
Exactly.
Especially in black and white.
Exactly, black and white, completely in Spanish, and to get a Best Picture nomination.
And combining indigenous dialect, because they spoke Spanish.
Yeah, and Mixteco.
And then we have an Ecuadorian film that is called Guagua.
Wow.
And this is about, the filmmakers are native Ecuadorians. Oh, wow. And the film is about that, and Guagua is the little baby. So it's a film that I encourage you to come and see.
Yes, and that's amazing that the filmmakers are, part of that community. So they're telling their own story, and that's a lot of the common thing that you see in the film festival, and people telling their own stories.
And we hope that Roma inspires a lot of people to seek out other films, and especially seek out our festival to try to find other films that address these kind of issues that deal with the indigenous community or the Afro-Latino community in Latin America, because they all have their stories, and the way we can present their stories is through film, through these documentaries that we program in our film festival. So we really hope that, our audience members out there who enjoyed Roma, I encourage you all to come to the film festival, because we have, over 60 films that also tell great stories of Latinos and their struggles as well.
Yes. So let's dive into a few films that you all selected. The first one is called Rojo. It's from Argentina, and we will show it.
Tu vida va a ser siempre un desastre. Y ya no vas a cambiar porque sos un tipo grande. Sos una víctima. Un pobre desgraciado.
¿Quién es?
Es tu naturaleza. En definitiva, no sos culpable de lo que te pasa. No, pará.
Desapareció.
¿Vos tenés buenos amigos? Si tuvieras que contar algo, un secreto, ¿me lo contarías a mí?
¿Algo extraño para señalar en la ruta, abogado?
Nada, gente, nada.
Abril estaba desesperada, no se supo más nada de él. Nadie lo vio, nada.
No hablaron con la policía.
Mabel no quiere que se hable de esto.
¿Tenés una foto de Diego?
Desde la última vez que nos visitó.
Estoy trabajando con dos hipótesis. En ambas el hippie está muerto.
Este es un lugar tranquilo, señor Sinclair.
Vení, subí, que te llevamos.
Haber nacido en este país es una bendición.
No se olvide que yo, antes de ser un famoso de televisión, fui un policía. Para un policía las cosas son o no son y al medio no hay nada.
¡Nazis! ¡Hijo de puta!
Mire toda esta llanura, abogado. Hermosa. Mire este cielo que nos cubre. Mire todo esto y tiemble, abogado. Porque esto es obra de Dios.
La gente del barrio comenta. La gente sabe.
Okay, ¿qué?
It's coming soon.
Yeah. So, habló sobre nazis. ¿De qué tiene que ver eso con Argentina?
A lot. A lot because Perón and also in Paraguay, Stroessner, they opened the doors to a lot of the Nazis, changed their name and they made their living there. Some they were welcome and some they prospered. The Jews then went after them and took them out. And actually last year we have a film dealing with that, taking away one Nazi from Argentina back to Israel and judging. So it has a lot, but it has to do a lot with crime. It's a political film, and it's a thriller, an investigation, and it's a lot of mystery in this. And this is a lot of action.
Yeah.
And it touches themes that are relevant to the Argentine society that we look, and then it could apply anywhere else. It makes a universal sort of film. It's not a Hollywood film.
Yeah, it's not.
Yet it's a lot of action similar to any Hollywood films.
Yeah. I really like the next one. I laughed a lot. It's called Cría Puercos, Raising Pigs. It's from Mexico.
I fell in love with the actress. She's so good.
Hola, mijito, ¿cómo estás?
Le dije que me llamara al celular. ¿Y cómo está mi papá?
Bien, mijo, está muy bien. ¿Se quedó dormido, tú crees, hijo? Solo quería que supieras que tu mamá te quiere mucho.
¿Cuándo vienes, hijo? Para las fiestas de Santo Domingo. Ya andaré por allá.
¿Qué es lo que anda trayendo ahora?
¿Quiere ver?
¿Sí?
Es hembrita.
Bueno,
Voy a ir a verla y me la voy a traer ahora.
Esto no está bien. Ni para usted ni para el animalito.
si no la cuido, entonces, ¿qué hago? ¿Qué?
Qué bonita está su puerquita. Gracias.
Okay, what was that? I thought it was gonna be like a really sad movie, but then it just turned into like, oh yeah, she raises.
It's not a comedy though.
Oh, okay.
It has a profound meaning and it's very relevant. It usually is the guy who leaves Mexico to the States and leaves the wife and children, and Then he makes the life here, and many of them, they don't go back. They lose the family that they have and establish here. Why? Because they can't go back. They can't risk go back. And so he was working, he gets a job, and he's in an office, and the mother is there alone with the husband. And she lies, and she has to keep the light, and then she has to have a company and has this little pig, and it becomes it's so tender, and she's so loving and coping with a situation that she wants her son there, and he can't come because fortunately he got the papers working through, and he can't leave. He has to wait for that. Until he gets the approval, he goes back to Mexico legally, he can go back and forth. And then confronted a reality that over the phone was a different one. And I can't tell you the rest because you had to come and see the film. But it's a really good family, tender, she's so loving. The relationship with the pig is unbelievable, so caring, and you fall in love with a story like this.
Yeah, I love it because, sometimes a lot of the movies that we see talk about like crime or cartels or corruption in the government in like these countries, but this one like highlights, the community experiences that happen in these countries, and so people can relate to it, It might not be entirely true, but it just shows that it's like a lighter
No, I think it is. It's solidarity, and everyone's she's kind of grabbing it. She becomes a magnet of attention, and people helping, and that's what you see in the community. The simplicity of our love, such as is natural, and also happening in a little town, disconnected from, I guess, the pollution or corruption in the big city. And then a lot, they played a lot over the phone, the relationship, the father, and then the way she lies to maintain, I guess, her own mental serenity and the love for the son. And it's a beautiful film with a lot of substance.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend.
Have you watched it all?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I want to see it. Okay, so the next one is called Caiga Quien Caiga. It's from Peru. This one's a little more intense.
Y gané una guerra contra el terrorismo en mi país. ¿Eso es un crimen?
La aparición del video de Montesinos sobornando a un congresista de la oposición ha desatado una crisis en el gobierno.
La grabación del asesor presidencial.
Estamos en todos los periódicos.
¿Te esperabas otra cosa?
Qué gusto de verlo, doctor. Contento de estar en la patria. ¿Cómo va todo? Complicado. Hay que mostrar los dientes, la televisión hará el resto.
En este vehículo se encuentra el presidente Fujimori.
Chino ya no tiene cintura.
No sé qué hará sin ti.
Nada.
Creo que tú eres el único hombre capaz de asumir esta tarea. Te necesito, José. El Perú te necesita.
Por favor, dime que tienes un buen motivo para traernos un domingo al estudio.
Me llamó el ministro de Justicia. Vamos a meter preso a Montesinos.
¿Perdón?
Fujimori dio la orden.
Ten cuidado, José. Que Montesinos te puede meter preso a ti. Ha sabido sobrevivir a todo. Es más resistente que una cucaracha.
Nos vamos a llenar de enemigos. Nos van a querer matar.
Podemos cambiar las cosas. Hoy.
El chino te busca desesperadamente.
Si yo caigo, él cae conmigo.
Necesitamos algo que resuene fuera del país. Cuentas suizas.
Orden de arresto. Para mí. Chino de mierda.
Están atornillados en el poder y se quieren quedar para siempre. Hay que librarnos de esta mafia.
Estás pedido, Vladimiro.
El chino tiene los días contados. ¿Y después qué? ¿Tú crees que te van a dejar ir a tu casa con tus millones? No seas cojudo. Te estoy ofreciendo la oportunidad de entrar a la historia.
Mientras más investigo, más implicados se encuentran. A estas alturas todo el Perú parece cómplice de Montesinos.
Te están usando, José.
Y el abogaducho ese, tenlo bajo control.
Todo esto es culpa tuya.
Te quieren doblegar, hijo.
Nunca interrumpas a tu enemigo.
No los dejes.
cuando está cometiendo un error.
Okay, that one was a little more intense.
Intense and necessary.
Yeah.
This kind of stories, they need to be taught.
There's
happening.
a protein shake that kills
And it's happening every day, and it's happening
cravings and slashes.
in every country. It's happening in Russia, it's happening in Chicago. And so corruption is something that is a societal cancer. It's really killing society. And I guess what happened in Peru is that at some point they went to jail. Fujimori is in jail. And Montesinos is in jail after being way up on the top and being the commander-in-chief of the corruption that really got the country down. And the film portrays that. And there are a lot of congressmen and former president, not only Fujimori, it's more the former last president, the two presidents, they went to jail. And the film is a portrayal of that. It's a sort of investigative report, and also it's a lot of action. And it's based on reality. Nothing is fabricated. It's just showing what happened. And happened recently. The actors of this phenomenon, they're still alive. Unfortunately, they are in jail. And that is the beauty.
Yeah.
And that also shows how the idea of bringing justice to can happen. The film shows that it's not an impossible. Sometimes society give up. That is, nobody's going to change. Voting or having an election, that doesn't change anything. This film shows otherwise. It is possible. It is possible for justice to arrive and really make what it has to make.
Exactly.
Justice.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of these filmmakers, when they create films about corruption, like what their motive is it to, like, you know, maybe fix the society, or is it just to tell a story?
I mean, because I'm not a filmmaker, but I know that is, I think that motivates them the sense of justice. How can things can change, and also using the power of cinema to tell a story and shed light into something that sometimes we think is impossible. And so a film is fiction, but fiction based on events. So to answer your question, I think there is the pursuit of justice to show that things are possible if we, and that's what happens. So journalists, other politicians, and the judges, among all of this corruption, there is somebody who has no price, and he or she keeps the integrity of who they are as a human being and what they are committed, what they study for, what they want as society, and so what that the film is sort of cover all of these societal big phenomenon and put in perspective and showed us that yes, it could happen. The powerful can become brought to justice, and so that's what we had the film festival, to show these films and bring light to other situations. So they shall serve as an example that it can be in other countries happening.
This also brings to mind the saying that goes, those that don't know their history are bound to repeat it. So if you don't know what has happened in your country, or if you were too young, these films serve as a tool to educate you and to learn about your country's history. And I think that's really important. And I definitely commend the directors for creating films like this.
Yeah. And I know sometimes can be dangerous to create films like this, because I know, like, in Mexico a lot of journalists are being killed, and so it's important to really look at these films and learn from them, especially if they're coming from Latin America, because things are different there. You know, it can be life-threatening to create a film that it goes to uncover like the corruption in government.
And yeah, we have one Mexican films that pretty much portrays similar situation. We have a film from Spain, fighting corruption, all the politics, and it's a thriller, a lot of action, but behind that is the idea of showing why Spain is so down, because people like this politician who sold his soul to the devil, to money, was able to do all of these things, and so they followed all these people. And yeah, it's dangerous to make those films. And it depends also the situation. And there are some moments in history that is possible. There's a Mexican film about Tlatelolco that it was made, and the film has to be buried to save the film because it could not be shown.
Yeah.
And then at some point things changed and it could be shown, and then all the film has been made about that because the ones who committed the crime, they are interested in keeping that seal forever, and they change every 6 years. There was a new president that allowed and then buried that, and all the film has been made, but truth is something that nobody can really hide forever. Temporarily they do, but not forever. So that should be a message for the ones who commit the crime, that they will not get away. Even if they die, at some point it will come to light.
Yeah, that's amazing how film can just like open up this whole conversation and like show you the inner works of like every country. And like
we have a film from Guatemala that is precisely showing about that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the one who committed the crime died last year.
Did they kill him?
No, he died.
Oh, okay.
And sick and all of that, the general. But the situation did not die with him. He's unburied, and that is what this film does, bring that to light and see, and hopefully that helps also to allow people to keep moving. Knowing that the truth is known now, they can keep moving, but it's just the power of that, the film, to really bring some kind of closure to a situation that is just too painful to keep living with after so many killings and disappearances and tortures.
Yeah. Someone should make a film about the 43 students in Mexico. That'd be interesting.
They haven't made a film about that.
Yeah.
They probably will. They probably
pretty
will.
soon they
but
will.
It can also get kind of iffy because...
Yeah, and the thousands of journalists who have been killed
because of that.
Yeah.
So, okay. I know you also sent a few short films. Before I show those, I want to ask, like, when do you show these since they're so short?
So what we do is we figured that, if we do what most festivals do, is they program a whole package of shorts and have one screening with just, shorts focusing on a certain theme or from a particular country. We realize, we might not get a lot of people because a lot of people aren't familiar with shorts, and, they usually go for the features. So what we like to do is our festival likes giving you a freebie before each screening. So it's not for every single screening, but films that are short enough, feature films that are short enough to include a short film before then, we actually do that. So, we show the short film right before the feature film starts, and while people are waiting for it to start, they're sitting there, they get there early, and they get a little taste of the short film programming and get a little mini story, and then they get what they paid for, so it's the feature film. And I think that's a good way, and we've received a lot of great feedback from people, and they love that. They're like, wow, this was such a great short. I would have never found out about it if, it didn't show right before the screening to this movie that I really wanted to watch. So I think it's really great what we're doing, and I think it also gives a platform and emphasis on the short films as well, because usually they tend to get overlooked unless it's strictly a short film festival. And I think that's a good way for us to highlight these short films and the filmmakers.
Yes, I think that's...
It's an appetizer to
That's true. It's an appetizer for the main course.
Yeah, the main course is so good, but the appetizer, sometimes we get that kind of feedback. The appetizer, the short film was so good, and better than the feature. We don't argue that, but and we've been doing that for many years, and that works, and we keep doing that out of the many shorts that we get. Certainly, it's a challenge for us to make sure that we really good get a great appetizer to put it before the feature film.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, because I think like short films are as important as like the longer films as well. So it's good that you do that because you encourage those filmmakers to, you know, continue doing what they're passionate about. If
no
you're
matter
gonna
the
tell
length.
us, if you can tell a story in 10 minutes, then come.
And that I think that tends to be more challenging too, to try to tell a story or convey a message in 10 minutes as opposed to 70 to 90 minutes. So I definitely have a deep appreciation for short filmmakers.
Exactly.
That's what Garcia Marquez said. Writing a novel is easy. Writing a short stories.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
But he did both.
So he's a master in the arts. So we're going to show the first short film, which is called Top 10 Places in Sao Paulo. So a short trailer for a short film.
So this is actually one of my favorite short films from this year, although I enjoyed all of them. But I think this short film specifically addresses the idea of traveling to a foreign country where you don't speak the language and trying to develop a connection with somebody. And this is essentially what happens in this short film. A Chilean travels to Sao Paulo. He's a photographer, and by chance meets another photographer who's a local Brazilian who lives there. And they have a connection, and they spend the day together. And even though they don't understand each other's language, they develop a relationship. And, you know, the ending is bittersweet because they each have to go their own way. And, but, you know, essentially, I think it addresses that idea that it doesn't matter if you don't speak the same language, live in the same country, there's still that possibility of connecting with someone.
Oh my God, so
And that could happen to you and you too.
Everybody, you too.
It's sort of an invitation to go somewhere. This is Sao Paulo, but it could be Moscow, Rome, Buenos Aires.
And not to let that limit you. The fact that you're traveling somewhere where you don't speak the language. Yes, it might be difficult, but not letting that limit you or detain you from actually going and trying and traveling the world.
That happened to me in Thailand. And it was rewarding. It was very educational and everything. So, oh my God, I want to see that one.
Yeah, really good.
And then the next one I really like.
Oh, Carmen is also a good one.
Oh.
¿Cómo está?
Bien, mija. Esta tarde me dolió un poco la cabeza, pero tranquila.
Oiga, ¿usted a qué hora es que viene? Es que yo ya voy saliendo para San Gil y mi mamá queda sola. Julián, usted quedó de venir a acompañarla.
Aquí Águila 4 para reportar novedad, ¿me escucha?
Mi comandante, lo que pasa es que mi mamá está enferma. Y yo necesito que usted me deje ir esta noche a cuidarla.
So this is another great one. It's kind of like a political thriller. It deals with the paramilitaries in Colombia and this young girl whose mother is sick, and she's a hairstylist and she cuts hair, and because of the desperate need for money to be able to pay for her mother's medicine, she decides to become or cut hair for the paramilitaries, and I'm not going to ruin it or spoil it, but there's a lot of things that unravel during that day that she's cutting hair there, and it just makes her realize if it's really worth it to get involved with these kind of people for money to pay for her mother's medicine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Another one I want to
It's another one that I also really recommend.
Yeah. And it's a film from Colombia, which is awesome. There's this last one called Palante.
Another one that I also really enjoyed.
Yes, it's beautiful. Just with watching the trailer. It's a Cuban short film.
Nos sacamos el bombo.
La lotería. Nos vamos para Estados Unidos.
Cubanata, misterioso país del amor, donde forman tus campos en flor.
Allí tú tienes la posibilidad de ser lo que tú quieras. Vamos a despedirnos de Cuba ya.
So this one deals with a young girl and her grandfather living in Cuba, and they're living a quaint, quiet life there, and the grandpa wins El Bombo, which is a lottery to get a visa to come to the U.S., and he thinks that it's going to be life-changing, and they prepare, pack up, and walk around the town to say goodbye to everybody, and then at the end he realizes that the visa would only be good for one of them. And he lets the daughter or the granddaughter have it, and it's heartbreaking for her, and also scary for her because she's going to have to make this move on her own. But it's such a sweet, sweet film, and it's full of heart, and I think it's wonderful. So if you also get a chance, please watch this short film as well.
Yes, I felt that. I haven't even watched the whole thing and I'm already crying. So it seems like, there's something for everyone. So if you're going to the film festival wanting to watch films about corruption or love stories or struggle stories of struggle, it seems like there's just multifaceted amount of films.
Yeah. Everything is on the website, and they will be on the app too. So Chicago Latino Film Festival.org.
And it's going to be at the same location that we've had it the past couple of years, at the AMC River East in the River North neighborhood.
So that's amazing. I'm so excited. So when does it start? When are the dates?
It starts March 28th and goes until April 11th. So we hope to see a lot more people out this year.
Yes, a little over a month left. Are you all excited? Nervous?
We are.
We are just making the final preparations. But
Coming to a kickoff party?
Yes. I will see you there.
That is on the 19th.
The 19th. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, and I know we've covered a lot of things that deal with the film festival, a lot of topics that we needed to address. But why should people go out? Why should this even happen in Chicago?
Because it's an opportunity to go and visit so many different countries. We went to Cuba, Brazil, Lima. Where else did we go?
Colombia, Argentina, Peru.
And so it's the chance to visit 20 countries without leaving Chicago. you don't
Very
need visa.
cheap.
It's only $13, and with that, sometimes you get a short film. I think it's an experience that is affordable, and it's to really get to know. And it's enchanting when I look at this and in the selection process, I recognize places. I feel it's an invitation for me to be there, to enjoy that, to be in direct contact with people. They can't come here, you can't go there, but through the film you can sort of have this encounter and enjoy it, and really metaphorically speaking, it's like a visit too, being there, taking a swim in the ocean, walking in the mountains, and be in the desert. We have a film in the desert of Colombia and also in Chile. Visit all of these countries, a unique experience that people who value this, they flock to the theaters, and that is why we do this, because we know people are coming. And the ones who do not, well, you will be missing a big opportunity to really get connected, learn, and then eventually become closer to, and that's what we need, to be closer to each one and be in a city that embraces all of us.
Yeah, and I think this is, the festival offers a unique opportunity for people to watch films, Latino films that are otherwise inaccessible. These are films that, yes, there is a possibility that might make it to Netflix, but it's not guaranteed. And the sad reality of it is that, you know, these films have you go through the festival circuit and get selected at a couple of festivals, but after, you know, a couple of festivals, they end up being forgotten and then don't get major distribution or don't get picked up by a streaming service. And we just want to be able to provide that opportunity for the filmmakers, for the films themselves, and for the audience to have this experience of being able to, you know, see this story unfold and see these very personal films. And be able to also discuss it with the directors, because we do have Q&A sessions for most of the screenings with the directors, producers, actors, and this way, you know, our audience has the opportunity to ask the director one-on-one what the process was like with making the film and what the film meant and what inspired him or her to make the film. So I think the festival is a great opportunity for you to watch great films and meet the directors, and also, you know, share your stories from your own particular country with your friends and family.
Yeah, you saw some of the trailer without subtitles, but in the theater, every film that is not in English, we do have some in English. Okay. They have subtitles. They're in Portuguese or Quechua, Spanish, but yet they are with subtitles. So the film festival is about the Latinos, but it's not for us. It's for us and for everyone else.
To share it with the whole city of Chicago.
And the world.
And the world, yes.
That's amazing. I'm so happy that, you know, it's the 35th annual film festival, and every year it's going strong. And I encourage everyone to attend. If you have any questions, visit the website located below. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you at the film festival.
Hope to see you at the film festival.